Welcome to the WinEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacey.
Hey, welcome into our next conversation. So glad that you could take the time to lean in with us today. And Lacey, what is it that we're going to chat about today?
Okay, so something that's been on Winnie's mind that we wanted to share today is financial renewal. So I feel like we trudged through another winter. I always feel like it's like this big, huge feat when we make it through winter and we see that springtime's coming. So with springtime, it just seems like that it's a time for renewal. It's a time for fresh starts or, whatever it might be. The calves are going to be hitting the ground soon. Maybe it's spring cleaning. The windows are opened up and the fresh air is blowing through. And Winnie wanted to share about financial renewal and what kind of that means to her. And you just got back from a big trip to Florida. So I think she's going to share about that with our listeners as well.
Yes. Purpose of being in Florida was to attend the Infinite Banking Think Tank 2025. And I've been going to Think Tank. I've made it pretty much almost every single year since 2012. So with it being in Orlando, Florida this year, what did I really come away with? And anytime that I get to go to Think Tank, it renews and invigorates how much gratitude and that I actually get to share this with all of you. And I get to pour into all of you what this truly means to my life, to your life. It just renews my whole thought process of what it is that I'm doing this for and why I'm doing it. So for those of you who are already an existing client or maybe someone who's really just checking out what infinite banking could mean to you, sometimes even if you've been practicing it, it's good to take the time to really think about how did this all come to be? Why is this a solution to the problem that is out there? It makes such a huge difference when we go about our life with so much more intention and just being so much more conscientious about how we're just going about doing our finances, how we're going to go about our eating, right? It makes all the difference in the world. So today, I really invite everyone listening to this to really financially renew themselves, like renew what it is that they're doing with finances, your understanding of why are you participating in implementing the infinite banking strategy into your life? Why is this a lifestyle for you? What are you doing this all for? Mm-hmm. Right? For those of you who are not doing infinite banking, I invite you. Since spring is coming around the corner and everything's renewing in it, physically in life, commit to renewing a new financial life for yourself. Because really, this is what infinite banking is really all about. It renews our ability to keep more money in our pocket. It renews our ability to have more faith in ourselves, in our capacity to go about our daily world, in all the decisions that we have to make every single day about our finances, because it will simplify your life if you basically take a vow to keep it simple and practice and put this into place in your life, right? And I guess it's human nature sometimes to wait for something so painful financially to happen before you really start taking action. But, it's like, don't wait. Just take action before anything bad continues to happen. Don't wait till the bank absolutely pisses you off. If you know and you're already bothered by the relationship you have with the bank or bothered by the fact that you're watching so much interest go out the window, like this is about the time most people are doing their taxes, right? Mm-hmm. So whether you're running your operations as a sole proprietorship or whether you're running it as a corporation, this is the general time frame that most people talk about taxes, right? And this is when there has to be some sort of conscientious effort to kind of take a look at the numbers that are happening in your operations. And one of those line items is interest. I remember the first set of ranchers that I dealt with they looked at their line item, $250,000
Went to interest.
And the net income that they were able to make for themselves, $225,000. The bank made more than them, and they earned less and took all the risk.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of like you spoke, like going down to Florida to think tank a renewal of, and just being grateful that you get to share this. At some point, I think every person has that feeling of you just need that little bit of reminder or that little bit of seed of hope that, yes, I'm doing what I was called to do. I have a purpose. And whether that be farming or ranching or sharing IBC, it's always good to get your cup filled up with the reminder of what we have to offer people and how we're helping them. So when you speak of the first ranchers that you had, how can we turn it around where they're making more money than the bank is the ultimate goal here?
Yeah, well, I guess, one of the first things that really come to mind is, when you hit that point of something needs to change, it's about, okay, well, what is the solution to that? And as soon as you ask yourself the question, what is the solution? Then you can actually begin attracting, having your unconscious mind get tuned in to, little things that they overhear, or maybe conversations that they've had in the past that they remember having with someone else before, right? Really gets activated in order to get to a place where you can begin to be open to other solutions, right? This learning about the infinite banking concept is learning about, it has a lot to do with how, it's bigger than just changing the way that we go about doing finances. Somehow it naturally will make you question everything you've learned to date.
We can easily go back to what Nelson said. When you realize what the problem is, you will know what the solution is. And if you are listening to our podcast on a regular basis, I believe that you already know what the solution is. And the longer you sit on it, the longer that you don't implement that solution. And so I just encourage people to, if this is something that's been on your mind, then that's a still small voice that's prompting you to look into it. Once you look into it, you're going to know whether or not it's what you are supposed to be doing or what you want to be doing. Just like Winnie, you were saying, don't wait. Don't sit on it. The sooner you take action on it, the sooner that, as our one client says, you're getting the banksters out of your life and you're taking back that control. And I know for me, I have a sense of wanting to be in control of things. I try to minimize that, to, give up that control. Like, I can't control everything that happens, but the bank is controlling us right now and they're controlling listeners. So how can we change it? Don't wait.
It all just starts with the way that you think. And really one of the best things that I can really advise, if you have this book sitting in your hands and you haven't touched it yet, Becoming Your Own Banker, or right behind Lacey's head, the Farming Without the Bank Canadian version, maybe some of you are not readers, but I will say to you, this is at least this book, Becoming Your Own Banker, it is on Audible. I will say that start with Audible just to get the information going. But I say, get the book from us. It's honestly, it's very inexpensive to get it from us, because otherwise you'd have to order it directly from the US, which then costs US dollars and then shipping and all of that sort of stuff. And we have loads of copies here in our Canadian office just to send right over to you. So, go hop onto our website and grab that book. But this is where it all really begins, because even if you start with Audible, just check out this book. It's really, I made it a little bit thicker because I added some other pieces to it. But there's something about, as you may or may not know, but there's something about actually reading a book. And because there's things to reference in here, like illustrations to really look at in terms of numbers, it's better to get the book. It is. It's better to get the book because you can always come back and refer to it. And the way, what I love about the Becoming Your Own Banker book, and David Stearns was Nelson's son, was that one that actually designed this book, but it's not an arduous task to actually read it because of the way it was actually designed. It's kind of like on one page, it's kind of lined up like this with the line down the middle. And so it's actually, I don't know, there's something like super easy about reading this.
Well, and you can take it section by section too. And in previous episodes, we are going through the book slowly, section by section. So, you might take 1 or 2 sections per day and let that information sink in, then come back and carry on. And so, yes, the Becoming Your Own Banker book, that's where it all started. That's where all of the nuts and bolts and Nelson's nuggets are in there. And then Farming Without the Bank, it's going to speak to your farmers and your ranchers. I personally think you need both books because there is so much value in both of them. What might not be spoken about in the Farming Without the Bank, you're going to find it in Nelson's book and vice versa. So personally, I always have both books right in arm's reach on my desk.
Like in the, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty and really take a look at, well, where do I start? What is the vision? How is it possible that I can really edge out the need for financing with the bank and do it in an alternative way? I really think that, the case studies in Farming Without the Bank is a really great start because I do walk through it step by step. And I think that when you start following it, you can really see the vision of how you can do it in parallel. Like if you have an existing loan at the bank and you're also in the process of, becoming the bank of Winnie or the bank of yourself, right? Is that you can see in the case study how you can do both at the same time and how possibly how much time it could take in order for you to get to that level where you can make the bank's plan B, right? So it comes right back down again to choosing during this time of year when, the world around us physically, nature is renewing. Go with that flow and renew your commitment to becoming a better infinite banker, like, where you're practicing it much deeper in your life, where you activate calendar reminders and, time with yourself to really sit and manage your finances the infinite banking way. Think about what's the next debt you want to tackle and take over and have you become the owner of that debt. Or if the way that you're going about your finances is no longer working, then we really encourage you again to, pick up this book, get the bundle, get the bundle. That is what I have to really share about, in terms of financial renewal. Now, as it relates to other items that I actually picked up at Think Tank, I'm still in the process of thinking about all of the pieces. One of the things that I can really say that really sticks out in my mind immediately, though, is it's really important actually to think about where we are storing our money and is it at the banking level? Is it better to actually store your money with the life insurance company and comparing that? And I think that will be a more specific, like a future podcast that we could really talk about and dive really deep on the characteristics and the benefits of that. The other one is private equity firms and the role that they play and how they have an impact on us. So private equity firms as it relates to infinite banking. And again, if you probably won't know anything I'm talking about if you haven't even touched becoming your own banker or Farming Without the Bank, but it relates to, hey, there's 2 kinds of life insurance companies out there. One is that they are publicly traded on the stock exchange, and the other is that they are privately owned life companies. Okay. And if you just have a term policy and you haven't gone beyond the knowledge of really knowing what a dividend paying whole life insurance contract, this may mean absolutely nothing to you at this point. But when you are taking a look at owning a policy like a dividend paying whole life insurance contract, it really does matter what company is it with? How is it structured? Is it a publicly traded company or is it a privately owned life insurance company? Okay. So for the purposes of infinite banking, you want to have a privately owned life insurance company. And there isn't very many here in Canada, but if you happen to have a life insurance contract with a company that is publicly traded, just know that on the scheme of things in terms of like how safe, like what is going to be the long-term performance of my life insurance contract and how safe is my money inside the life insurance contract, it is riskier with a publicly traded company than it is with a privately owned life company. Okay. Private equity firms they really like publicly traded life insurance companies because they like to invest and hold a lot of shares in publicly traded life insurance companies because it's really great for them. It really improves their performance and their ability to invest short term and get gains really quickly. However, there's trade-offs to that, right? So especially if you are a policyholder of a life insurance contract with that life insurance company, depending on the performance of that private equity firm or group, it could negatively impact the long-term performance of your life insurance contract. So I'm really doing a high-level overview of what I've learned. If you really want to learn a lot more about if this is a subject that really interests you and what that really means, Barry Dyke, who is the author of Pirates of Manhattan, did extensive research into the pros and cons about private equity firms. And so you can certainly look him up and get further information on that, especially if you're a details person and this sort of stuff fascinates you. It's better to be fascinated with actually getting to the point where you ask, how can the infinite banking concept work for me? How can this be like a wonderful solution or a wonderful way to renew myself financially?
Mm-hmm. I think listeners can start with asking themselves the simple question, what's one thing that you want to change about your finances? Just start with one. And the next question would be, how can infinite banking help solve that problem? And you're going to find those answers, one, in the books, and then meeting with us. And so highly encourage you to head over to our website and grab the book bundle, rancherway.com. That's where it all starts. That's where you're going to know whether it resonates with you and whether you want to move forward. So I look forward to hearing more about all of the information that you took in at Think Tank, sharing that with our listeners, because I think that it's just valuable information that we need to keep bringing to the listeners. So head over to our website, rancherway.com, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Give us a 5-star review, guys, and share this podcast with your friends and loved ones or whoever you think would enjoy hearing this. So thank you, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WinEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.